Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to Copper Jacket TV. So today I want to talk about something that's really important, which is HR 1808. That's the House's newest, latest, and greatest assault weapons ban. It actually passed the House and went on to the Senate. And there are a lot of people out there saying that that's where it's going to end. It's going to stop in the Senate, and we're not going to see this assault weapons ban actually be passed. But that's not actually true. So let me tell you guys exactly what's going on with HR 1808 and what we could be seeing here in the future. Hey, before we get started, if you wouldn't mind, just take a quick second and hit that subscribe button, that little bell notification. It's free, only takes a second, but it helps me out quite a bit. And if you wouldn't mind, check out the main sponsor of this channel, which is the USCCA. Absolutely one of the best memberships you could ever have in your wallet. Excellent peace of mind. They have self-defense liability insurance included with your membership, magazines, reciprocity maps. I mean, if you find yourself in a situation where you need to defend yourself, you simply call 911, you call the number on the back of that card, and they will send somebody out to speak for you and handle everything from there. Okay, so let's go and talk about HR 1808, which again is the latest federal so-called assault weapons ban bill that recently passed the House. Now, obviously, after it passes the House, it has to go over to the Senate for a vote, and before that, there's some procedural things that need to happen. So on August 1st, almost exactly 2 months ago today, the Senate sent it over to the Senate Judiciary Committee, and the committee has to pass that on further before it goes on to the next step. So it's been almost 2 months. In that time frame, I think a lot of people are just kind of like out of sight, out of mind. But there's a lot of people that are saying that we don't need to worry about this. There's no way that it's going to pass the Senate. The votes just aren't there. So even if it does pass through committee, you know, we're not going to see this bill pass and go up to the president's desk. And I am on the complete opposite side of that. Now, the evidence that I'm using to say that this bill is probably not over yet, and there's probably a broader scheme to keep this bill alive, is the bill's own history. So the bill's history itself is what I'm looking at here. So the bill was first introduced on March 11th of 2021. It was sent to the House Judiciary Committee, where it stayed until May 18th of 2021. So exactly 2 months and 1 week. So we're at the 2-month period right now in the Senate Judiciary Committee. It took 2 months and 1 week before it left the House Judiciary Committee. Now, here's the thing. After it left the House Judiciary Committee, it went to a subcommittee on that same day. Now, believe it or not, that subcommittee sat on this bill. So from May 18th of 2021, it sat on this bill until July 20th of 2022. That means that this bill was sitting in subcommittee for over a year and 2 months before it actually left that subcommittee. Now, that's a long period of time, right? So there's a lot of people that kind of forget about these things. They sit in committee, and then what happens is they leave committee once there is a more favorable outcome perceived. So if they say that maybe the country, something happened and they'd get a lot more broad support from the country for something like this, or maybe the makeup of the House changes or the makeup of Senate changes, then all of a sudden this bill comes out of committee and it ends up going for a vote really quick. What I mean by really quick is really quick, just about a week. So this bill, once it came out of that subcommittee on the 20th of July, it was voted on and passed by July 28th of 2022. So within 8 days of it leaving committee, after it was in subcommittee for over a year, it only took 8 days to pass, and then it was sent on to the Senate. So as you can see, it's almost like a stall tactic, and that's very, very well could be what they're doing here. So goes over to the Senate, it goes over to the Judiciary Committee keeps it for a little bit, then they send it to a subcommittee on something else to where it could stay for a long time. What's coming up? Well, the November elections are coming up, and the makeup of the Senate could change drastically, just like it could in the House, right? If the Senate ends up being more friendly to this bill after those elections, more than likely that's where you're going to see this bill come back up again. So again, if the makeup changes in favor of this bill, that's when the bill is probably going to pop up. If the makeup of the Senate changes to be less favorable towards this bill, then more than likely that's where it's going to end right there. But I think this is just a delay tactic, which is, again, what they did the first time in the House, right? You didn't see anything for 14 months, and then all of a sudden, after major events happen across the country, boom, it's re-entered into the House and then passes within 18 days, or within 8 days, excuse me. So again, I think that's what's happening currently in the Senate. I don't think that it's over. I don't think that we can call it done and it's just not going to pass. I think we have to wait until December, right, or late November before we actually say whether or not this bill is going to move forward or not. Until then, we can't act like it's just done, like it's just over, like a lot of people, want to do. You can't just ignore it. You can't just forget about it. You still have to write to your senators and let them know that, hey, this bill still exists. It's in committee right now, and I don't want you to vote for it. So you have to remember that I don't have a crystal ball, okay? I can't see into the future, but neither can people who say that you just forget about it because it's not going to go anywhere, it's not going to get the votes. Nobody has a crystal ball. We can't see into the future. So until the end point, and this thing is, we know that it's been put to sleep and that's all there is to it, that until that point, we can't pretend like it doesn't exist. It still exists, and like I said before, no one has a crystal ball to see what's going to happen. I just use the current history of this bill to see what type of strategy might be used to get this bill to move forward. And so I'm just basing it off of the history of the bill, but I don't know 100%. And that's one thing that you always have to keep in mind. Until everything's said and done, it's not said and done. So make sure that you guys stay on top of it and, watch for any movement in this case. And I'll bring you any movement if it actually happens. I'll bring it to you, but this is something that they're pushing for, and they're pushing for heavily. And when the president says, I want this done, and he's telling all of his supporters in Congress to get it done, I guarantee you there's going to be an extra push to make it happen. And so we have to treat it as such. So even though I like to be an optimist, and 99% of the time I am an optimist, I'm being a little bit pessimistic here just for that sheer fact that there's still some strategy to be played, and that's what politics is. So anyway, I want to let you guys know about that, and I want to thank you all very much for watching. Please like, subscribe. You guys have a great day.